Hey everyone, so we're going to be replacing this skylight today. For the sake of time, we've already disassembled the old skylight. We checked the curb, made sure it's good to reuse. Luckily for us, the new skylight just fits right on the old curb, so carried up the lumber for nothing, but hey, you know, you never know. So after removing the shingles, removing the paper, getting it all down to the bones, first thing you're going to want to do is replace the ice and water shield around the skylight. When this old one was installed, they didn't wrap anything up the walls. You're also going to want to make sure you remove any of the old nails, just so you get a nice flush sit with your step flashings. You want to make sure you're really clean in the area around the skylight. Like, I'm going to have to blow that out again. Just so your ice and water shield sticks down really good. So yeah, the first thing you're going to want to do is wrap ice and water shield up around this, starting from the bottom. Later. When you're doing this, you want to start from the middle. You don't want to start from the corner, just because it won't, the ice isn't going to want to sit nice if you start from a corner. And the way I like to do it, go like this, flop it down. This might work. So you start from the middle, you'll push it down in there, like that. And then you'll just flop it up. If you've ever done flat roofing, it's the same. Kind of the same as going up a parapet wall, whatever the hell they're called. I don't do flat roofing, I've done it once. Actually, I'm gonna need some of that later. So now that you've got this wrapped up the wall like that, you're gonna wanna find your corner right here on the inside and just make a diagonal cut, kind of on a 45 like that. You're gonna fold this over. You're gonna end up with this little fold here. What I like to do is cut it right from the corner, because you don't want, like you see how I folded this up onto the curb? You don't want to have a big bulge right here, because when you sit your skylight down on there, if there's too many layers of ice shield, it's not going to look very nice. So I usually just trim that right off. And then when I come up this wall, you'll see what I do. Now, for these corners here, where the water can get in, I like to make a little gusset, gasket, whatever you want to call it. You just cut out a little oval like that from the ice shield. On a nice warm day, you can do this real easy. If it's cold out, you might have to heat it up with a lighter or something. Okay, so that side's done. Same thing over here. Really important that you get any debris out of the edge of the wood, especially in the corners, so that your step flashing sits nice. You don't want your step flashing all bubbled. Okay. Same thing, cut that off. Be a jerk. We're installing a Velux skylight today. Pretty much all we use here in Canada is Velux. There's some other brands, but they're not as trusted, so stick to what we know. Okay, so now that we've got that done, we're going to come down the side, and hopefully this is big enough. So we're going to have to come down the side in strips. Thankfully we ordered this ginormous roll of ice shield. When you're cutting on top of a roof too, you want to be careful. Make sure you lift up whatever you're cutting, just like that, just so you don't cut the shingles underneath. This roof's not in the greatest shape, so we're probably going to replace it next year, but until then, you don't want it leaking after you've worked on it. These fans right here, you always want to make sure they face up so that they seal. Yeah. To the piece you put on above. Same thing with this. You want to start in the middle and then work your way out. Sometimes you can take your hammer too. Just run it along there. Really make sure you get in that crease. Hopefully you can hear me. Same thing here. You find your corner, stick your knife in, cut on a 45. And like, really want to make sure these corners seal. So like I said, it's warm today, so we don't have to apply any heat. But if it was colder outside, we'd probably have to like staple into the curb to get this to sit. Now you can kind of see the importance right here of that gasket. So if this wasn't here, you'd be able to have a water penetration point there. But because that's there, if any water just so happens to make it through the shingling, it's gonna run right out onto the shingles, not underneath them. You'll never have to worry like this. So now we're just gonna trim this back. Really important too, keep your work area clean, as clean as you can. Maybe use this. Nope, again. So it's going to be the exact same thing for the top corner. I know somebody's going to make the comment about us not being tied off. Honestly, for a quick repair on a 412 roof, it's not the worst. It's not the worst in the world. If we were gonna be up here for like a day, probably would set up some ropes and stuff. Probably got another hour or two left because we got lucky. Okay, again, start in the middle, work your way down. Trim it back. Fold it over. Like that for this one. Same thing, you're gonna find your corner right here. Make your 45. Just make sure she sticks. It's not big enough. Same as the front, you make a gasket. Place that on there. Just hold it for a little bit, rub it. We didn't get all the shingles out, but we got most of them, so I'd say we're good. This particular customer actually got really lucky because we found shingles with no nails. There's shingles with holes in them, and he's never had a problem other than this skylight, so lucky guy. We're gonna be replacing the shingles around the skylight. Like, I'm 100% positive these are Ico aged redwood, Ico Cambridge, and that color has been discontinued. So we're replacing the shingles around the skylight with red Dynasty shingles, which will be the closest match. You know, if we use a different brand, like every brand of shingle has different key lines. You see right here, the key lines on these are straight. And that's how I knew they were Ico or CRC. Certainteed, they're on an angle. BP, they're on an angle. BP is also a longer shingle. And then for Malarkey, like that's a Malarkey roof right beside us. It's black oak. You can tell the Malarkey just because of how big the keys are and the way the shingle looks. I learned how to prep walls like this from a flat roofer in Ottawa. His name is Jose Tierra. Really good guy. Taught me a lot about sealing things up. He's actually one of the best flat roofers in Canada. And he helped me start my business. So always thank that dude. Again, really important to always start in the middle. Anytime you're wrapping underlayment, you never want to start at the bottom and like work your way up. You'll get like, see I got a little wrinkle right here. Doesn't always go on perfect, but the goal is to have as few wrinkles as possible. None if you can. I'm probably gonna speed this video up just so that I'm not just taking forever. Time's ticking. Hopefully we don't run out of ice shield. This is just regular Resisto ice shield. I choose to use Resisto just because you see how that plastic peels off real nice. With other brands, the plastic's either like super stuck or it streams off into little bits when you're trying to pull it off. And, you know, something like that, you wouldn't think that it adds a whole bunch of time to the job, but you'd be surprised when you're sitting there screwing around with a piece of ice shield trying to get the plastic off for 20 minutes. It's quite a waste of time. The reason I'm folding all these up like this is I don't want them to land on the roof and then go to peel it off. And like I said, these shingles are old. It'll tear all the granule right off the shingle. What's left of it anyways. Never, ever, ever want to, even if you're like doing a new chimney or something, anytime there's a corner like this, you always want to wrap it up this way, just because you never know what's going to happen. Shingles blow off, roofs get old, things leak sometimes. So, especially skylights, they can be one of the most problematic things on a roof. If they're not done correctly, they'll make your life a living hell. Okay. Maybe, just maybe. Wrap it up. Perfect. Beautiful. So this part right here is going to be a little bit harder, just because we got to get up. You got to get up underneath the old shingles, and they're really brittle. So you got to be really patient. Definitely easy to lose your friggin' mind doing this stuff, but I find the angrier you get, the longer it takes. Grab that. No, this. Pull it over a little bit. More. Yeah, right there. I got it. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just stand on it, huh? So before you deal with your corners or your folding, you're gonna wanna deal with this back piece of ice. Get it up underneath the old roof. Got some nails there, at least they nailed the shingles here. These are really handy for this kind of stuff because you can lift and push. If you were to leave this ice shield sitting here while you worked on everything else, you'd come to do this and it would all be stuck to the old roof and you wasted a piece of ice shield. So really important to do this first. And when you're pressing these corners, I like to go past, like this is the edge of the board. I like to go past here and I find it just helps, you know, really get it stuck. This is actually the biggest skylight they sell. Thought I was gonna have to custom order it, but it turns out ABC had it in stock, so here we are. So right here on the back, come here, I'll show you something. You're gonna have this little flap like that. I like to cover it up, just a 1-inch piece, nothing crazy. Just cover that up. Again, that's a just in case thing, you know, like you never really know what's gonna happen once it's all said and done. Another really important tip, if you can do this without using any fasteners like staples or nails, sometimes, you know, if it's cold out, you're not going to get lucky. You're going to have to use fasteners, but if you can avoid putting any holes in this underlayment until you start installing the shingles, you'll get a way better seal. So I made a bit of a crooked cut here. It's not the end of the world. It's not absolutely required for you to wrap up and over like this. I just like to do it as a precautionary measure. Okay. So now you're ready to install shingles and the flashing kit. Yay.
I can end it, right?
Sure, until I come back.